Hello, my name is Sofia and this is the walkthrough to OSINT Exercise 030. On my website you can find a number of OSINT exercises to practice your skills. If you have not attempted to solve this one yet, you can find the link in the description and give it a go first. If you're here because you have completed, well done, you should be very proud. This was a hard one. If you're here because you want to find out how to solve it, I hope you find this video useful. So welcome to OSINT Exercise 030. Task briefing. The refugee crisis in Central Africa has been ongoing for decades. With millions of people fleeing violence, humanitarian agencies play a critical role by providing assistance, including emergency shelters. The video below, published in October 2007, shows the situation in a refugee camp in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The structures seen in the footage are long gone as the conflict in the region waxes and wanes. Geolocating temporary accommodations is often challenging as satellite images are scarce and the situation on the ground volatile. It is, however, still very much possible. Your task is to A. Find the exact location of the white tent seen in the video below at the 1 minute and 16-second mark, and I have a screenshot. Here we go, 1 minute 16-second mark, white tent in the background. This is the one we need to geolocate. Let's go back. So I have included a note. Please be aware that this exercise may expose you to distressing content as refugee camps often harbor people in vulnerable and difficult conditions. I wasn't sure if the warning was needed. If you use OSINT to investigate incidents related to human rights violations like me, chances are you see way worse than this on a daily basis. However, I reckon a big chunk of the people who end up on my website are not usually exposed to distressing content, so I decided to include this note, just in case. This video, however, will contain absolutely no upsetting content anywhere whatsoever. I have marked this exercise level as hard for everyone. When I was solving it, I feel like it didn't really get to that stage where I start questioning everything around me, so it was borderline between a medium and a hard, but I felt it was tipping more towards the hard level, so that's what I decided on. Anyway, let's do this. I'm very excited. Okay, so the video is embed on the exercise page, but if you select the option to watch it on YouTube, you'll get more information on it, so let's do that. You can see here that it was published on the 24th October 2007 by the UNHCR, which stands for the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. The description, and I'm going to zoom it a bit, mentions the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as stated in the briefing, and specifically the North Kivu province. Good start, we have a region now. So you can quickly go to Google Maps and see how big is the North Kivu province of the DRC. Let's do this. Okay, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. We need to narrow this down a lot more, right? So let's go back to the video. I'm not going to play it because I'm going to assume you already watched it. I can, however, give you the highlights. So there's 3 minutes and 31 seconds, and it's mostly in English. It has a narrator explaining the situation and a few interviews with people on the ground, which have been dubbed to English as well. Most of the scenes have very little movement from the camera. So you'll see the shot, hear the voice, but the camera doesn't really rotate or pan anywhere. So it's very static. This can be good or bad when geolocating. Good because there's less blurry images, the camera is very stable, and bad because it's hard to put all these shots together. They exist like separate entities instead of parts of a big puzzle, but it's still a puzzle. Another useful thing in the video is that it has subtitles, and if you click there, I'm going to pause it, it has subtitles, you can click it and you can see that they are auto-generated to English. And this comes with some limitations, but it's still good to be able to read what people are saying instead of trying to figure it out. And even better, if you click the show transcript here, you can see the entire text. So let's do this. I'm going to zoom out because they usually show on the side here. Let me zoom in a bit more. There are some bums on the picture. I'm trying to get them up, but they're just there. Okay, we have to look at the bums. Sorry about that. I'm sure you delighted anyway. So here's the transcript. I like to toggle the timestamps because honestly, I don't like looking at the numbers. It's very useful when you want to find when in the footage people are saying what, but we don't need that, so we can just take them out. So now we're going to copy the entire text. So all the way, copy it, and we're going to cover the bums. I'm going to put them on a text file. Here we go. Okay, so at this point we can read all of it. It's quite short. Assuming you have watched the video, you'll know that they mentioned the name of a camp, which is very useful to us because, as we have already seen, the North Kivu region is huge. Look at that, huge. Let's go back and cover the bums. And within this huge North Kivu region, we are looking for a specific location of one tent. It's very ambitious. So let's see what is the name of the camp mentioned in the footage by searching for the keyword camp. So camp, and there you go, found it. So it says there, recently arrived in Beleno camp west of GMA. So this is a good start. We have the name of a camp and the general direction, which is west of GMA, whatever GMA is. So now our plan is to, within the North Kivu region, find out where or what GMA is, look west of it to identify the location of this Beleno camp, and somehow geolocate a tent that no longer exists, which was erected almost 20 years ago in 2007. It's quite a straightforward plan. It's definitely possible. Unfortunately, and this is where the problem starts, Beleno camp does not exist and GMA is not a place, but that's okay. Let's find the correct keywords because the auto-generated translation was not entirely correct. So if you go to Google and type the keywords we found on the transcript, remember it was Beleno camp west of GMA, North Kivu. Google is like, I'm going to ignore that and instead show you the results for Beleno camp west of Goma, North Kivu. So you can see how it changed the Beleno to Beleno with an A and GMA to Goma. But now let's pay attention to something new. Even though it corrected the word Beleno to Beleno, we can see how none of results contains that. So missing the Beleno, missing the Beleno, missing the Beleno, and so on. Instead, you can see the word Bulengo. Look at that. Bulengo camp, Bulengo IDP camp, Bulengo camp between Goma and Sake near Lake Kivu. So now let's go back to Google Maps and use the information we just gathered. Let's add Goma and look at it. Let me close that. That's big. Oh my God, it's so big. Okay, so this is Goma here. And we know the camp would be west of Goma. So that way, that's west. And we can spot there this Sake or Sak, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's somewhere there. So at this point, we can just zoom a bit. Here we go, more or less in the middle. And at some point, we're going to spot this camps of refugees Bulengo. Look at that. Thank you very much, Google. And this is not the only way to find it. Another quick way to track down the location of the camp would be to just Google again. We just Google it. We can use the same keywords as before, but this time we're going to add the word map at the end. Here we go. And we're going to look at the images and we're going to find a bunch of maps, and we're going to click this one because why not? It's a nice map. And here we go, Bulengo camp. We can see it. There is Goma, there is Bulengo, and this matches the same location as this. So here we go. This is the location of the refugee camp. So the first part of the plan is complete. We have identified the possible location of Bulengo refugee camp in North Kivu. If we zoom in here on Google Maps, look at that, you can see a lot of white dots. And all of these white things are tents. And it's shocking that so many people are living like this. I wouldn't even call it living, they're just surviving. And you know how at the beginning I said that if you use OSINT to investigate human rights violations, you kind of get used to looking at distressing content. Sometimes you don't get used to it. Looking at all of this actually bothers me a lot, and there's not much I can do about it. But I still wanted to create an exercise focused on this topic because it's reality, and sometimes reality is very grim. But this is a fairly recent satellite image, and our exercise footage is from 2007 when things were not as bad. So let's focus on that for now. We need to go back in time and look at old satellite images. And for that, we need Google Earth Pro, right? So we can copy the coordinates. There you go, it says camp refugees. I'm going to just copy the coordinates of this location here, and I'm going to paste that on Google Earth Pro, and off we go on a little adventure to Bulengo camp west of Goma in the DRC. Bam, here we go. Brilliant. Now that we're here, we can check out historical satellite images from the area in the hopes of seeing how it looked like around 2007, because at this point, and if you click it here, it'll tell you that this is from July 2023. Massive camp. The sheer amount of tents is shocking, honestly. So let's go back 2022. They're gone. They're just gone. Almost no tents, and we can keep going. Click, and almost no tents in the area. Not really a crisis at the time. If we go back all the way to 2015, now we see a camp. There we go. We can see the tents. If we go back a bit more, 2014 is a bit more clear. 2014 as well is slightly bigger, and we need to keep going. 2010, and it's this blurry mess. Oh no. I knew it was coming though. We can zoom out a bit and notice that there is satellite image to the west, there is satellite image to the east, but there is nothing in between, which is exactly the bit we're interested in, isn't it? And we can keep going back in the hopes of finding one, just one good image of the camp closer to 2007, but we will not be successful. So this is 2005. Before that 2008, and then we have the blurry one from 2010. Actually, in fact, they're all blurry. Look at that. You can go back, and suddenly you're 1985 and it's still blurry. So this is what we'll be working with. I didn't even do it on purpose, I swear, but I was very happy when I found out that there are no available satellite images of the area from around 2007. In fact, the best one close to that is from 2014, which is 7 years later. But what can I say? I like a good challenge. And if you think that now I'm going to tell you about some obscure website with old satellite images, I'm very sorry to disappoint. I did not find any. And as far as I'm aware, there are no publicly available clear satellite images showing the refugee camp in 2007 or even up to 2010. So if you found some, I'll be very happy to check it out and add it to my bookmarks. In the meanwhile, let's work with what we got. Right, so now we need to match this area with what we see in the video. We need to confirm we're on the correct place. So initially we looked at the keywords within the video to find out the name of the camp, and now we're going to look at the visual content. And remember how I said at the beginning how the camera did not move too much, and that is sometimes good because we have a lot of decent images, although a bit disconnected from each other. So what I did and what I advise people doing is to watch the video very carefully, pause whenever you see a new scene and take a screenshot. That way you will end up with all the available content to look at, analyze, zoom in, zoom out, you know, do whatever. I save all my screenshots in a folder, which I have here. There we go. I also created a couple of panoramic images in the few instances that the camera panned around, so these two here. So at this point, we have a possible location of the refugee camp, this one here, and a bunch of photos of the area from 2007. And how do we link these two things together? We know that most of what we see in the pictures is gone. The people are gone, the tents are gone, this desk here is very much gone, and there's some chance that some of these trees are also gone. But do you know what is likely not completely gone? The coastline and this mountain here. You can see a mountain, and here you can see a coastline. These things change, of course. There's coastal erosion, there's fires, floods, landslides, etc. But the change is much slower. So it's very likely that the general geography of what we see in the 2007 pictures is still more or less the same of what we would see a few years later or even now. And this is helpful because we do have some satellite imagery available, right? The 2014 one is decent quality, so let's work with that one for now. Here we go. We're going to work with this. So the first thing we'll do is to turn the camera to the coastline, just because we've seen it in a couple of photos, wasn't it? So I'm going to show you which photos. Is this the one? Yeah, so this is one of them. I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to bring the other one. Where is it? This one. And I'm going to put it there. Come on. There you go. Side by side. And we can even see, let me zoom this a bit, how they are actually more or less the same area. So you can see the coastline in the distance. Here we go. The coastline. You can see this row of tents as well. Another camp, I'm assuming. This tree is the same as this tree. Actually, let me just bring my thingy. I like my thingy. Let me see. This tree is this tree. Different color. That one. This one is this one, and now for the last one, it's going to be that one. Yeah, that's good. Look at this tent here is this tent here. So both scenes were shot more or less in the same area, just one of them more zoomed in or a bit closer to the coast than the other one. But here you go. This is exactly the same camp. Let me remove this thing again, and let's go back to Google Earth Pro. Okay, so we're facing the coast, right? We're facing the coastline. And we're going to look for a mountain or a hill, which we can see right here. And where else can we see this? Let me bring it up. Where is it? Here. It's going up. So this hill or this mountain, I still don't know how to call this thing, is the start of this one here. Brilliant. And where else do we see a mountain slash hill? I'm going to show you. It was this one. Remember? And now I'm going to prove to you that this mountain is the same mountain as this one. I'm going to just put the pictures side by side in the correct angle, which is going to be more or less like this. So just give me a second. Here we go. Let's now look at all the details and see how they match, shall we? So first we have a lone tree there, which is this lone tree here. Then we have a cluster of trees here above, which is this one. Then what we have as well, let me choose a different color. This one is a good one. We have a row of dense trees, so a bit of a mini forest here, and we have a mini forest here. And lastly, what color can I use now? Red. I like red. This area here, look at that, is more dense. It also goes down more or less like that. So you have a very good match. There's other details, but again, this is from 2014, this is from 2007, so things changed slightly, but most of the main features are still visible. So let me get this out again. So if we needed to make a decision, I would say that this was more or less possibly done. Oh my god, this is shaking too much. Perhaps there. Let me see if the other 2014, nope, 2014 better, possibly better. Okay, so because we see a tree here, and on the video you can see it actually goes all the way down, so there's roots, this is a living tree, I would possibly put the tree here. But again, this is from 2014, there's some chance that this tree was cut down, so more or less here. I would say it was more or less here. But we don't need to geolocate this tree, we need to find the location of the white tent. Where is it? Where did I leave it? I don't think I even opened it. Here we go, the white tent. We need to find the location of this specific tent, not the tree. Let's ignore the tree. So let's look at this picture for a second. What do we see behind the tent? There's a row of trees, it's quite dense. And not just that, we can also see two hills. Let me zoom this a bit, and I'm going to bring my little thingy. I love this, this is so useful. So I'm going to show, first of all, we have, yes, the row of dense trees, and then I'm going to choose another one. And now we see a hill that goes up, there we go. And then we see another one, dark blue, brilliant, that is in the background, and it's also there. So we have two hills slash mountains. We have one in the background and we have one in the foreground. We have the tent, which is in front of this dense row of trees. And where else have we seen this exact scene? Let me show you. It was here. Look at that. Let me put this one again to the side now. We're going to compare it with not this one, not this one. Oh my god, I have too many pictures. Okay, this one. Oh my god. So let's compare this to, shall we? We see again this. We see a second one there and there and there. And hopefully you are paying attention now, because I want you to see the tent. The tent is there, a lot closer to the row of trees, which I shall put in baby blue or light blue or whatever. So we have the trees here, the dense trees. And now we're going to zoom in a bit more, or a lot more, and look at that. That door is this door. This tent is this tent. So this means that the white tent would have been more or less located here, I would say. So again, I would say that this tree was more or less there. So the tent would have been more or less here, close to this row of trees. And now I'm going to quickly show you something cool that you can do on Google Earth Pro. Let me zoom this a bit. First of all, I'm going to create a little polygon by selecting the polygon icon, and I'm going to draw a square. So this is more or less where the tent would have been located, possibly an angle like this. It was more parallel to the trees there, so more or less there. I think this is a good place for it, but this is boring. I don't like boring. And so now what we're going to do, we're going to the altitude, and we're going to select the option relative to ground, and we're going to put here the height. I don't know how tall a tent is. I know something like 3 meters. I'm going to put 3 meters, and we're going to select the extend sides to ground. Here we go, and we click OK, and look at that. It's a little 3D tent. But we're not done yet. Yes, this is where the big white tent was placed, but can we prove it? Hell yeah, we can. And how are we going to do it without satellite images? We are going to instead look for aerial photos. Aerial photography has been a thing for over 150 years. Humans have been taking photos from a high ground way before we had satellites to do it for us. So let's Google something like, where is my Google? Another one, Google something like aerial view Bulengo Camp 2007. And if you click on that first result, you will see that it was shared by a UN account. Here we go, United Nations photo. And let me zoom out because I can't even see the rest of the information. Okay, in April 4, 2008, less than 6 months after the video was uploaded to YouTube by the UNHCR. The description also states that the Bulengo camp, here you go, Bulengo camp is in the background. So this is another camp and this is the Bulengo camp in the background. And you can see there's the coast, there's the camp, and there's the hill/mountain that we have seen. You can download the photo with a full resolution, so you can download it here. I have it already, so I'm going to bring it up and let's zoom in on this Bulengo camp and look, what do we see? A white tent. And let me bring Google Earth Pro so we can put them side by side. You can see it even better. Okay, here we go. We have the picture from Flickr and we have the satellite image from 2014, which is pointless to us, but we did put a little 3D tent there. And look, if we zoom in all the way to there where we can see the tent, oh my god, it kind of went a bit crazy there. We can see that the tent is located where we expected it to be. So you see the row of trees, and the tent is there. And here we have it, bam, we have our evidence. Brilliant work, we are done. The visual evidence matches our analysis, therefore we can safely conclude that this white tent, where is it? I lost it already. There we go, this one. This white tent that we could see at the 1 minute and 60-second mark is located here, where we mapped it. Amazing. I hope you enjoyed this exercise. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. Have a great week.